Hi, and welcome back to this week's Parsha Shir on Sefer Netivot. Shalom. Also take the opportunity to wish you a Yom HaAtzmaut Sameach on this very special day, this very special holiday celebrating Israel's 70th year. Netivot Shalom addresses himself in Parashat Tazria to the concept of tzaras, and specifically to the connection that Chazal make between the affliction of tzaras and the avera of lashon hara, of speaking negatively about other people. He says, Darshu Chazal, Gemara Erchin says, Daf Tedvav Amibez, based on the pasuk Zos Tia Toras HaMetzora from our parsha, Toraso Shel Motzi Shemra. The Gemara darshans the word Metzora as a conjunction or an acronym for the words Motzi Shem Ra, someone who puts out a negative name about somebody else, someone who slanders another person. Zos Tia Toras HaMetzora, or Toras Hamotzi Shem Ra. The connection between the two becomes apparent in the association of the word itself, that somehow tzaras is connected to being a Motzi Shem Ra. Why? Shekol HaMesaper Lashon Hara Negayim Bayin Alav. Anyone who speaks Lashon Hara becomes afflicted in this way. And there are many midrashim like this. Od Ita Sham, it says further on the same Gemara in Erchin, Ted Zayin Amibez, Ma Nishtana Metzora Shemevi Shtei Tziporim, Lefisha Negayin Bayin Alashon Hara, Shumase Pitpute Devarim, Lefika Chuzka Kula Taraso, Tziporim Shemepat Betim Tamid. Why is it that the corrective measure for the punishment of tzaras is to bring two birds? Well, if you understand that tzaras is connected to the avera of lashon hara, you understand that the avera was connected to chatter, to the moving of the mouth, to speaking here and there and other places about other people in a public setting, in a public forum, to one person, to another person, pitputim, little chatters, and therefore it's appropriate as a corrective measure to bring as a sacrifice two birds, because birds are known for their chatter, for moving their mouths as sound comes out, just like the avera of lashon hara, and therefore it's appropriate that they be brought in order to correct the avera of lashon hara. V'yesh levar hatam, madua kol chamor iser lashon hara yoter mikol shar isurei lo ta'aseh. Why is it that lashon hara is treated as a worse avera perhaps than any other, to the point where not only is there a calculus on Shamayim of whether we get rewarded or punished or how exactly our actions are to be considered, but we get almost an immediate punishment in this world, immediate notice in this world, an immediate tap on the shoulder and say, hey, you've done something wrong, so much so that it stands out amongst all averas as the only one where we get such a direct sign. You speak lashon hara, in some way you get tzaras. As you see the tzaras, you realize, oh, I spoke lashon hara, and hopefully you correct that and stop speaking lashon hara and go in order to effectuate the process of tshuva. You don't get that in any other avera. You don't something becomes treif in your kitchen, you start eating treif every day. You don't get a sign from Shamayim and saying, by the way, you should correct that. Make sure you kosher that pot. It's not kosher anymore. You don't get that. You don't get it for Chilul Shabbos. You don't get it for any other avera. Why is it so severe that we say negayin b'ayin alav, that we get immediately afflicted, both as a punishment, but also as a means of alerting us to the severity of the problem so that hopefully we could correct it? Od Amru Sham beGemara bechumras hapigam shel lashon hara. The Gemara itself speaks about how bad lashon hara is. It says, Kol hamesaper lashon hara ki'ilu kafar ba'ikar. A person who speaks lashon hara is like a person who has denied the existence of God. It's like being an apikoros. It's like denying the existence of God. That's pretty severe. What's the connection between the two? It makes no sense. Fine, you want to say lashon hara is very severe, but why compare it specifically to being a kofer ba'ikar, to being a kofer or an apostate? V'chein kol hamesaper lashon hara amar Kadosh Baruch Hu ein ani v'hu yacholin ladur ba'olam. Even more than that, the Gemara says that when a person speaks lashon hara, it's as if Hashem responds to them and says, you know what? If you're going to speak lashon hara, there's not enough room in the world for me and for you. One of us has got to go. What's the connection between the two? Why is lashon hara specifically indicate that there's not enough room in the world for the human being speaking lashon hara and for HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself? Furthermore, the Gemara tells us there's no takana, there's no ability to fix it. And as we know, the words that we say have a certain power that, stretch way beyond ourselves. And no matter how much you try to repair the damage that was done, sometimes it's simply impossible. And so on and so forth. And Netivot Shalom cites more and more citations of the Gemara speaking about the severity of this Avera. So he tries to explain it in two ways. V'yesh lomar pi divrei haGemara sham be'erechin, she'im shilu mesaper lashon hara lenachash, she'eno nehene minishichaso, ela koach hara shebo dochvo lahazik, v'ilu chayos acheros nehenos mitarfam, umachmas hana'asam torfos. So he says there's another Gemara which can help us answer these questions and understand the implications of lashon hara. The Gemara compares a person who speaks lashon hara to a nachash who bites, to a snake that bites. There's something unique about a snake that bites. A snake bites and releases venom. The snake that does the biting receives no pleasure, no benefit from the bite. It's purely to affect the other party, for protection or whatever else the snake would do it for, but the snake doesn't get any physical or tangible benefit from it. Whereas other animals, when they bite, when they attack, when they take a bite of something, they're enjoying it. And it's actually the enjoyment that they get that causes them to want to seek that prey or to be able to take that bite or make that attack. So he says, Kacha misaper lashon hara nivdal mishar over avera. Now we can understand what distinguishes the speaker of lashon hara from every other avera. Shebechol ha'averos yesh la'adam eza hana mecheto. V'hu b'bchinas yitzra onso. Every other avera, pretty much in the Torah, a person gets some kind of benefit from, some kind of pleasure from, and therefore we can always say that, okay, we're human beings, and we are weak human beings, and we fall prey to our Yetzer Hara, we fall prey to our desires, and our desires pushed us to do this particular Avera. Just like the animal that bites. The animal bites because it's hungry. The animal bites because it gets certain pleasure back. But that is not the case with Lashon Hara. With Lashon Hara, there is no actual benefit, there is no actual hana, there's no pleasure that's derived in the moment from the speaking of Lashon Hara. It's a purely vindictive act. It's an act of lording one's power over another person, exerting one's influence over another person, and there is nothing that you receive back from that particular act. Unlike if eating treif, you just can't resist that bite of the cheeseburger, so you get some benefit. You enjoy it. You enjoy the taste. You enjoy the smell. You enjoy whatever else you enjoy, and therefore you're drawn to it. But in this case of Lashon Hara, there's no tangible benefit to you in the moment, and therefore the only thing that's drawing you is the act of hurting somebody else, exactly like the nachash, in distinction to other animals. The nachash releases venom, bites, with no tangible benefit to itself. That's why it's compared to the act of the nachash. It's alluded to already in Kohelet that there's no benefit to the speaking of Lashon Hara. In Yitron lebal halashon says in the 10th parak of Kohelet, the bal halashon, the person likes to speak about a lot. There's no Yitron, there's no benefit, there's nothing gained. The person only does it out of an act of evilness, out of some wicked feeling that they have in their heart. Because of that, he's comparable to the snake. That's why Chazal were so strict with Lashon Hara. That's why they highlight its severity. Because it comes purely from the evil part that exists within the soul of a person. In every other Aver, you could blame it on the taivos of the person, the desires, the physicality of a person. He falls into the hole. What can he do? He tried so hard to avoid it, but he just couldn't hold himself back. She just couldn't hold herself back. In this case, it's not about holding oneself back from some pleasure. It's coming not from a place of pleasure seeking, which is an animalistic behavior that's natural to human beings, but rather it's coming from a place of evil. It's coming from a place of bad, of ra, within the human being. That's why it's so severe. That's why Chazal connect the Avera of Lashon Hara with being one who denies the existence of God, and with the statement that me and that person, God says, cannot dwell in the same world. There's no room for God when you fall completely prey to the powers of evil within you. There's no room for God in that equation. If there's no room for God in that equation, then you've cut him out of yourself, you cut him out of your life, you cut him out of the world, and therefore you're ki'ilu kafar ba'ikar. That's one avenue to explain the severity of Lashon Hara, the connection to being a kofar, someone who denies God's existence, and the connection to the statement that God makes that he can't dwell in the world together with the person. He'll give another reason, says Netivot Shalom. O tam yesh bazeh, mipnei shechavivin Yisrael shenikru banim lamakom. The other reason for the treatment of Lashon Hara with such severity by Chazal is because all Jewish people are considered the children of God, and they're very beloved to God. V'kiviyachol ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu sovel shemedabrim sara bebanav, kashem she'ein av yachol lisbol shemedabrim ra'a b'no. There is a zero tolerance policy that any parent has for someone who speaks negatively about their child. Zero. A person simply can't tolerate it. They literally, physically, mentally, emotionally cannot tolerate when a person does something wrong to their children, speaks negatively about their children in any way. There is almost a visceral reaction. And that's the case here too. If we imagine ourselves to be the children of God, when we speak Lashon Hara about another child of God, another one of the people in this family, so to speak, then God has the severest of reactions. God simply can't tolerate it. God simply can't allow it to be, to exist. Just like a father or a mother cannot suffer someone speaking ill of their child. That's the severity of Lashon Hara. Lo rak etzem hapigya bechaver al yedei Lashon Hara. Shelagabe chelek zeh ma shayach lomar she'en lo takana arei ze yachol lefaiso oto el ikar hapagam uklape shemaya. In addition to the damage done to the other person, which in any cases can be fixed, can be mollified in some way. In some cases it can't, but in many cases it can. But the real severity of Lashon Hara is that it's not only a slap to the other person, but it's also a slap to HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. Shegaram tsar lemala be'etzem ha'uvda shediber saral banav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And because we cause distress to God from the very fact that we spoke Lashon Hara about one of his beings, about one of his children. Even if you fix things up between you and the other person, you haven't fixed it up klape shmaya. We've denied one of the fundamental facets of our faith if we speak Lashon Hara about another person, because we denied that they and we, as a people, as a collective, are the children of God, that we have that special relationship with God. That is a fundamental piece of our belief in God itself. And if we brought ourselves to speak Lashon Hara, means that we don't consider the other person to be Banim Atem Lashem Elokeichem, which means we've denied that very premise of our faith. And it's Ki'ilu Kafar Ba'ikar. In a sense, there is no room for the two of us, says God, in this world if you've denied one of the very basic premises of our relationship. It's one of the Ikrei Ha'emunah. And the whole act of Lashon Hara is an act of pirud. It's an act of separation. And what we're supposed to learn is not to separate between people, but to view ourselves as one family, to view ourselves as one collective. Ma mida tova meruba, says the Netivot Shalom, if we can go the opposite direction, not with Lashon Hara, which separates between people, which diminishes people, which comes from the place of evil in our heart, which denies the existence of God and the relationship between God and the world, between God and the Jewish people, but we can go in the other direction of bringing people closer together. What nachas ruach we can give to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a nachas ruach hagedola biyoser lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, hi kasher Yisrael banav ohavim zeh et zeh. The greatest pleasure we could give to God is to get along with each other, to have unity with each other, to create a collective of the Jewish people that is so tight that it is unbreakable, to view ourselves as one unit that cannot be separated between. And I think what better message to think about on this day of Yom HaAtzmaut, this day which is so much about the importance of coming together as a people. No matter who we are, no matter where we are, we believe that we have this unbelievable nitzchi, eternal connection with each other and with God. Our destinies, as the Rav said, are tied together so much so that after 2,000 years of exile, we were brought together in the same fate to this moment of Yom HaAtzmaut, to the creation of the state of Israel, in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes us under his wings, just as children. Banim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. And in reciprocity, we ourselves have to be able to come together as a people. We have to come together with each other, have to come together with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a great act of achdus, in which we view this collective that we're part of truly as a family, as an unbreakable family. And if we can do that, hopefully we can be zocha, not only to avoiding lashon hara, not only to avoiding negayim, not only to avoiding tzaras, not only to establishing our faith more firmly, but also to greater and greater geula, to greater and greater redemption each and every year, each and every day. May we continue to celebrate the wonderful miracle of the State of Israel for many, many years to come and continue to see the flourishing of the Jewish people. Shabbat Shalom.